Welcome back to the channel, guys. In today's tutorial, I'm going to be helping you set up the ultimate self-sovereign Bitcoin wallet. We're going to be setting up a multisig, a 2 of 3 quorum, and I'll show you exactly how to do it. Right, so why do we set up a multisig? Ultimately, you want to increase security. Okay, so a multisig will reduce a single point of failure, like a single sig. The device could be compromised, or if you lose your seed phrase, or if somebody was to find your seed phrase, your funds could be gone. With a multisig, you need multiple devices to sign a transaction to move the funds. And in this tutorial, we'll be talking about a 2 of 3 quorum, where you'd need 2 devices to sign a particular transaction. So shared control is another benefit of multi-sig wallets, where you could have a family member or within a company, and you would have to agree and approve transactions before anybody can move funds. And then obviously the ultimate way to do this is to keep your seeds and your devices geographically distributed. So don't keep them all in the same place, preferably in different countries if possible. All right, guys, so for this setup, we're going to be doing a 2 of 3 multi-sig quorum. I'll be using the Keystone 3 Pro, and I'll be using the Coldcard Q, and I'll also be using the Coldcard MK4. So what we're going to do is we're going to import the XPubs from these devices into Sparrow. We're going to use Sparrow Wallet to build this multi-sig. And then once we have the output descriptor saved, we're going to export the wallets back to the devices so that the devices are aware of the multi-sig quorum. And then from there, we'll be able to move funds around, signing with only 2 threshold of the devices. Just a quick note, all these cold storage devices, all these wallets, they have already been initialized. So they've already been set up as a single sig wallet. So they're ready to be used now if we want to incorporate them into a multi-sig quorum. So as mentioned, the wallets are initialized. They're ready to go. We're going to build our wallet, and we're going to use Sparrow. So I'm going to jump into the desktop, and we're going to show you how to set up the multi-sig wallet using Sparrow. So now that we're in the desktop, we have Sparrow open. What we want to do is we want to create a new wallet. So you can either click it there, or you can go to File, New Wallet, and we're going to call this, I'm going to call this Vault Multisig. And we're going to say Create New Wallet. So what you'll see straight away is this information right here. The policy type, we want to change that to a multisig. We're going to keep it as a native SegWit. And just by default, Sparrow will set this as a 2 of 3 quorum, or you need 2 signers out of 3 to move the funds. So you can move this around. You can have anything you want. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it as a 2 of 3. And you'll notice at the bottom here, the key stores, you'll have 3 key stores. So if you take it a 2 of 4, you'll have 4 key stores and so on. But we'll keep it as a 2 of 3. And what we're going to do first is we're going to need to import the XPubs from each device. And then once we got those imported, we can build the multisig. And then very important, once the multisig is set up, we will then save the output descriptor. And the output descriptor is essentially the map or the roadmap for your wallet. It's essential that you keep this output descriptor, save it to the SD card, save it to your desktop, keep it safe, but definitely keep multiple copies of the output descriptor. All right, so we will start with the Coldcard MK4. We are going to export the XPub to the SD card that's air gapped via SD card. And the XPub is essentially XPub is short for extended public key, and it is like a master key that can create all the Bitcoin addresses for the wallet. So first thing we want to do is we'll power up the cold card, and I'm going to sign in. offline and come back to you. All right, guys. So once you're in your Coldcard MK4, you have the ready to sign. Just a quick note: you definitely want to have the latest firmware running on your devices. Make sure you have the latest firmware running. So what we want to do is we want to scroll down to settings. We're going to go into settings, and then we're going to go down to a Multisig wallet, and we're going to click into that. And then what we want to do is we want to export the XPub. So we want to go in and export the XPub, and it says this feature creates a small file. It tells you what it is, and it tells you that it will save it as a JSON file. Okay, public keys. You can just scroll through the whole thing. It tells you what it is and the path, and click OK to continue. So we're going to say OK. The account number, I just put it as 0. Okay, and click enter, and then it's writing. So it's writing to the SD card, and it says multisig file is written. So now we can go back out. We can take the SD card out, and I'll put this into the computer, and I'll see you in the desktop. All right, guys. So over in Sparrow, back in the desktop, we want to import that XPub from the Coldcard MK4. So it's air-gapped. So we're going to select the air-gapped hardware wallet. And right here at the top, we can see within Sparrow, you got the Coldcard Multisig. So we're doing the SD card file. So it's going to be import file. We're going to import that from our SD card, which is there. And it's this file with the .json. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to say open. And that pulls that in. And then you can see as the key store, it's been updated. It says Coldcard, and it has the XPub down below. So what we'll do now is the next one we'll bring in is the Coldcard Q, and then we'll do the Keystone 3 Pro as well. All right, so with the Coldcard Q, it's very similar to the MK4. So we're going to scroll, once you've signed in, put your PIN, get signed in, and then scroll down to settings. And we're going to say enter. And then we're going to go down to multisig wallets. And with the Q, what we're going to do is we are going to use the QR code to scan. So I'm going to say enter. And then we want to scroll down to export XPub. Okay. We're going to say enter. And then it tells you again what we saw before. And then it says enter to continue. And account number we're going to put as 0. So 0, and then enter. And then press 1 to save the multisig XPub file to SD card, or B for lower slot, or QR to show the QR. So I'm going to say QR, and it's going to generate a QR code for me. Okay. And then back in Sparrow, guys, you want to come to the air-gapped hardware wallet. Click that again. Click the Coldcard Multisig, and this time we're going to scan. And we're going to scan the QR code that's there. It reads it, and then it puts it straight in. And again, we have the QR with the Q set up. The Q is in, and now we just need to import the Keystone 3 Pro. So with the Keystone 3 Pro Bitcoin only firmware, what we do is we click on the little wallet top icon at the top there. We're going to say show export XPub, and then we select the multisig wallet, and that generates a QR code for us. It's a native SegWit. And then on Sparrow, we just say air-gapped hardware wallet, and we search for the Keystone multisig, and we're going to scan that. Just like before, we scan that, and that'll bring in the XPub of the Keystone 3 Pro into Sparrow. So back in Sparrow, guys, we have now imported our 3 hardware wallets. So I've got the Keystone, I've got the Coldcard Q, and I have the MK4, the Coldcard MK4. So what we need to do now is just say apply, and you can give a password if you want, but it's just a password for Sparrow. So I'm going to leave this empty, and I'm not going to put a password for my Sparrow here. And now this is the very important part. You want to make sure that you save this output descriptor. Again, this is like the roadmap for your wallet. If you ever need to rebuild your wallet, your multi-sig wallet, this is what you're going to need. So definitely save this in redundancy, save it in a couple of places, and keep it safe and secure, because this is what you're going to need to rebuild. So we're just going to say save PDF, and I'm going to save it to my SD card, and I'm going to save it there. I will also save a copy to my desktop, and I'll put it somewhere safe a little later. So I'm going to save it there too. You want to keep multiple copies of these and keep them very, very safe. Now that that's done, we can close this out. And essentially, our multi-sig wallet is set up. But now what we need to do is we need to tell the devices about the multi-sig wallet. And to do that, we need to do a few things. If you're finding value in this tutorial, please give us a like and subscribe. And if you want to support the channel, head on over to pioneeringfreedom.io, where we have tees and hoodies with free shipping to the US and to Canada. Because when you know the truth makes you a soldier. So just to give you an idea what the output descriptor looks like, I'm going to go into my SD card, and I'll just open this for you. And essentially it's the exact same text at the bottom, but they do give you a convenient QR code which you can scan if you need to rebuild your multi-sig on another computer running Sparrow, or if you're using Nunchuck or even Blue Wallet. So you have both the text and you have the QR code option. So keep it safe. Back on the Keystone 3. So in Sparrow, we have to tell the multi-sig is set up in Sparrow, but now we got to tell the hardware devices about the multi-sig. So with the Keystone 3 Pro, I'm on that now. I'm going to go to File, Export. I'm going to export the wallet, and I'm going to come down to the Keystone 3 or the Keystone multi-sig. I'm going to say Show, and then back on the Keystone 3, I go to the little wallet icon at the top, and I'm going to say Add multi-sig, and I'm going to say Add via camera, and then I'm just going to scan the QR code, and it tells me check the wallet information and make sure that you give this a read, and you say okay, and it's a 2 of 3. It tells the wallet what's going on with the quorum, and I just say confirm. Okay, and I need to enter my password. And import is successful. Okay, so now the Keystone 3 Pro is aware of the multi-sig in Sparrow. And then we can just close this out, and we'll do the same for the other two cold cards. All right, guys, so now with the Coldcard Q, it's the same thing. We're going to go down to settings. We're going to say enter. We're going to go back to multi-sig wallets, and we're going to say import from QR. Import from QR, and in Sparrow, we're going to say file. We're going to say export wallet, and I'm going to do the Coldcard multisig, and I'm going to scan that. So we're just going to scan the QR code, and there it is. It says wait, and it pulls it in, and we scroll through, and we say approve. So enter to approve, and it's saving the information into the queue, and it tells us what the multisig looks like. So if you click into the 203 multisig, you can view the details, and all the information will be in there telling you exactly what's happening with that particular wallet. All right, so next up, we're going to do the Coldcard MK4. All right, guys, so for the final one, the Coldcard MK4, we are going to say in Sparrow,
we're going to say again, file. We're going to export the wallet, and we're going to say Coldcard Multisig. But instead of show, because the MK4 doesn't have a reader, QR reader, so we're going to say export file. We're going to export the file, but we're going to save it to our micro SD card. We're going to save that, and then I'll pick it up in the overhead camera, and we will bring it into the Coldcard MK4. And basically what we're doing is we are telling the MK4 all about the multisig that it is now a part of.
All right, guys, so grab the SD card. Oh, got to eject it first. 1 second. Eject the card. Eject the card. We're going to put this into the MK4. And now again, we come down to settings. Say settings. And we're going to go back into the multisig wallet. Multisig wallet. And now we're going to say import from file. Import from file. And there is the file. And then we just say yes. And that'll bring the information into the MK4, telling it all about the quorum that it's a part of. And you can just scroll through. It tells you it's a 2 of 3 signatures. And press 1 to see the public keys, or OK to approve. So we're going to click OK. And that's going to save that. And now we are pretty much set.
So guys, now we have our multisig set up. The devices are all aware of the quorum. And now all we need to do is we can go to our receive tab. We can send some Bitcoin in. So you can always receive Bitcoin, no problem. But when we want to send it out, we're going to need 2 signers, because there's a threshold of 2 out of 3. So we need 2 of the devices to sign a transaction before we can broadcast it to the network. So next up, we'll send Bitcoin in. We'll send it out using 2 of the 3 to sign. So in Sparrow, when you're on your receive tab, you want to just copy your Bitcoin address. And I always label my UTXO. So I'm going to label this. And I'm going to send some Bitcoin in. And then once it's in and confirmed, I will send it out. And we're going to sign with the Keystone 3 Pro, illustrating the QR reader. And we'll sign with the MK4, illustrating how to sign with the SD card. So I'm going to wait for those funds to come in, and then we'll send them out. All right, perfect, guys. So we have, looks like 2 confirmations in there. So we can now send these funds out. And when we send them out, we'll need to sign with 2 out of the 3 devices. So to send it out, I'm going to go to the UTXO tab at the bottom. I'm going to select the UTXO I want to send. I'm going to send the full amount, which is roughly 50,000 sats. So say send selected, and then you want to paste in the wallet address to where you're sending it. And you definitely want to just label it. I'm going to call this tutorial return. So for the fee, we just jump over to the memspace, to the mempool, mempool.space, and the fees are between 4 to 7 sats VB. So between 4 to 7 sats per virtual byte. Let's go medium. We'll bump it up a drop here, so it doesn't take too long. And we're ready. So we're going to create the transaction. And then when we say create transaction, we'll say finalize for signing. And it'll give you 2 boxes. So this is the threshold. There's 2 signatures that are required. And we're going to do one with the Keystone 3, illustrating the QR code. And we'll do another signing with the Coldcard MK4, showing the use of the micro SD card. All right, guys. So with the Keystone 3 Pro, what you want to do at the wallet at the top, make sure that you're on the multisig that you've just set, and you say set current wallet. So now that we're currently set to the multisig as the current wallet, so now we can go and say show QR code on Sparrow. That'll show the QR code, and then we just hit scan on the Keystone 3. It pulls in the QR code, and there is a confirmation. It tells you what's being signed and to where it's going, and then we just say confirm, and I enter my PIN, and then it's done. All right, guys, so the Keystone 3 has this QR code ready to be scanned now by Sparrow. We're just going to place it there and let it scan. It's a bit tricky with reflections, but there you go. So that loads up the Keystone 3, and now we just need to sign with the MK4, and we'll do that via SD card. So for the Coldcard MK4, it's a little different. We're going to save it to the SD card and make sure your SD card is plugged into the computer, and then just save the partly signed Bitcoin transaction. And that'll write to the SD card, and then we're going to take the SD card and put it in the MK4 to sign. Guys, so take the SD card out of the computer, place it into the Coldcard, and it says ready to sign. And we say ready to sign, enter that. Validating, okay to send. It'll tell you about the transaction that we're sending. Just scroll down to the bottom. All the details are there. And then we just hit the check button. So we say okay, and that'll load the information back onto the SD card, and then we place this SD card back in the computer for Sparrow just to send it off the transaction. All right, guys, so we've placed the SD card back in the computer, and now we say load transaction. We're going to select our SD card, and it's this part, the partly signed PSBT. Select that, say open, and we get another confirmation signature. And now we're ready to broadcast the transaction. So we've signed with the 2 devices, 2 out of the 3 multisig, and now we can broadcast to the network. We just hit broadcast, and the funds will go to the wallet you designated, and that is it. That's how you set up and sign with a 2 of 3 multisig. So hopefully you found this tutorial interesting, and if you did, please give us a like and subscribe. There's plenty more content coming, and I'll draw your attention to our merch store, which we have at pioneeringfreedom.io. If you want to support the channel, head on over. We've got tees and hoodies, and we're currently offering free shipping to the US and to Canada. And if you know the truth makes you a soldier.